Hello everyone and welcome to this week's grammar video about connectors. Today we will be discussing connectors and you might be asking yourself, what are connectors? Maybe you know them as linking words or signal words, and connectors or linking words are used to bring focus in a text, to direct the reader, to clarify how certain things relate to each other, and they're very frequently used both in written and spoken language. If you look at the following example, then you would see he went home, though he never said he was going to leave. And this is an example of a connector. In this video, we will explain more about connectors, as I said, and generally they are placed at the beginning or middle of a sentence. For example, the presenters gave a very interesting presentation, however, no visual aids were used. This is an example of a contrasting connector. Today, everyone was allowed to take the day off, and consequently, all emails were left unanswered. In this example, you can see both a timely connector as well as a cause and effect connector. And last but not least, Silicon Valley is home to companies such as Apple, Google, and Facebook, where such as is used to provide more examples. Following overview, we have created a number of categories so that you have an overview of which connectors belong to which category and so that you know how to use them in which situations. So if you would like to add ideas, you can frequently use and, which is the most common connector, but also connectors such as well as, in addition, moreover, and furthermore. And we'd like you to expand your knowledge of connectors so that you can easier switch between connectors and diversify your use of them. Then what you also see are the categories of contrasting, where we already gave the example of though or nonetheless, on the contrary, on the other hand. You can use connectors to give examples, and as well as for sequencing. And for sequencing, you make clear what the order of certain events is, and so here you would also see that you could first of all start with this information, then you come to the second point of the information, and thirdly you could discuss the following point of information. So those are important whenever you want to establish an order in the information that you are communicating. Cause and effect is also part of the categories, and that is where those are useful to explain what the effect of something was or why something has happened. And whenever you want to point out the idea behind something or how it links to a previous event, then you can use connectors such as because, therefore, this shows, thus, consequently, you name it. As I mentioned in one of the examples at the beginning of the video, you can also use connectors to refer to time, whether you want to talk about something that recently happened or that has happened the last week or maybe even a year ago. And whenever you want to summarize information or you want to conclude everything, then you would use connectors such as all in all or to summarize and in conclusion. If you look at the following example, you see that a number of connectors have been left out, and I'd like you to think for a moment which connectors you would insert in this type of text. Read it and then decide for yourself which connectors you would include. And so if you look at the example where the connectors have been inserted again, a time adverb such as recently would work well, and a cause and effect connector such as thus is also possible. So if you had any other connectors within those two categories, you were on the right track.
For now, that is everything you need to know about connectors. Don't forget to do the exercises and see you next week in class.